Hey guys, how are ya? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. I will admit I miss Vlogtober. I miss talking to you every day. I miss having sort of a little mini goal every day, no matter what, to look for something interesting, positive, thoughtful, something to share with you. And I got the chance to talk to you every day, and it was such a treat. I do look forward to Vlogmas for all of those reasons. But it would have made talking to you today a little bit easier if I were still in the habit of talking every day. Today is November 6th, and there might be a handful of you who may realize why today was important to me. But I figured I would share a little bit of a story time with you. I'm going to try and keep it kind of tight and controlled because I've tried to film this video 4 or 5 times today, and I have ended up weeping and sobbing. Just not good. It was satisfying because I love to cry, but it wasn't easy. So some of you may remember that November 6th is when I had to put my Clare to sleep, my cat Clare to sleep. It was a very, very difficult thing. It was probably one of the hardest things I've done as an adult. I was not prepared for it. I've lost, as I keep telling you, I've lost most people in my life, and that is hard. But that process becomes a little bit easier with the frequency of loss. You get to, not that it's easy, but it doesn't hurt like it does the first few times. I don't want to sound cold or callous, but you learn how to lose people. You learn how to get through those things, and you're better prepared each time it happens. But with Claire, I was unprepared for how devastating it would be. And so I put together a couple clips of videos and still photos I have of Claire, sort of in a rough timeline from when I first met Claire to near the end, including one photo of our last few moments together. And I put this little video clip together to share with you, but also to kind of, it was an exercise. It was one of the first times I've really sat down and looked at some of these pictures and watched some of these videos. And because I would try in the past and I would just lose it completely. But I was able today to put this little video montage together for me and for you, because some of you miss Claire too. And then I wanted to share a little bit of a story time with you. And then I'll show you those photographs and those videos. So if you just want to skip past the story, skip right ahead and you'll see that little video montage. It's like 10 minutes, so it's not little. But they're still photos and videos that I found really touching and moments I hope to never forget. So, a little bit of story time. Let's talk about how I met Claire. And I'm going to try really hard to kind of keep it together this time because, guys, I have been a mess all day. So, one afternoon, I was walking with Buddy. Buddy used to be an indoor-outdoor cat. But I was walking with Buddy, and much like I found Eleanor, because I found Eleanor in a very similar fashion. But I was walking along with Buddy past the laundry room at my old apartment complex. And standing in the corner, kind of nestled in, was this little cat. And I stopped and went, "Oh, hi, sweetheart." And, hoping to call it over, not expecting it to come over because it's a stray cat, and they're usually pretty skittish. Well, she flew towards me and I caught her like a little furry softball. And I immediately wanted to cry because it was like touching a bag of bones or petting knuckles. Her body was so emaciated and so shriveled. She really was, she weighed nothing. And upon looking at her real quick, I noticed that her eyes were almost sewn shut, with like pus, dried whatever. She had such serious eye infections that she couldn't open her eyes. So, and she was so thin, I think, because she hadn't really been able to see, to eat or drink or anything. I have no idea how long she went without sustenance, but it was clear that she was starving. So I was like a mess. I brought her upstairs right away. I put, I'm not sure if I remember filming that, but I put some of Buddy and Eleanor's food out for her and some water. She couldn't see, but there was food right in front of her, so she just inhaled that food, which made me all the sadder, you know, because it was pathetic that this poor, beautiful creature had just been shriveled. But I also didn't want my cats to get sick, and I already knew instinctively that I was not going to keep this cat. I wasn't planning on keeping Eleanor either. I had Buddy. That's all I needed. There was no way I was going to have 3 cats. Well, so after Claire had a bite to eat, a little bit to drink, I set up a little emergency room in my walk-in closet. My apartment was 400 square feet, and then it had this like weird walk-in closet that was just big enough for a litter box, a bowl of food, a bowl of water, a cat bed, and room for me to lie down. Because I chose to sleep with her the first 2 nights. I just couldn't put her in a closet by herself when she's scared and afraid and alone. So I ended up sleeping in that room with her and kind of hanging out once in a while, that little walk-in closet. But I wanted a couple of days at least to isolate her so that it was, ideally it would have been a longer time, but it's a closet. But I wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to bring anything into the house that wasn't welcome, you know, like a disease or something. But she seemed pretty okay. I pretty much immediately wanted to name her, knowing I wasn't going to keep her. Right? But everyone knows I love the St. Francis prayer. I love that St. Francis valued everything from pigeons to wolves, you know. And but I didn't want to call her Francis. So I Googled St. Francis, and one of St. Francis's first followers was eventually St. Clare, Clare, no I, just to be difficult. And she was the patron saint of eyeglasses or optics or something, and the patron saint of sewing. Both of which I'm very interested in. I used to be involved in optical. I used to work for a couple eye doctors, and I love to sew. So I thought, that in addition to a few other things, I thought, perfect. This is Claire. And I remember filming a little video introducing you to her. So that was how I named Claire, and how she became part of the household. Buddy couldn't have given 2 shits. He just did not care. Eleanor hated Claire. Did not want to be in the same room with Claire. Hated Claire. They never really fell in love as neighbors or sisters. They put up with each other and they entertained each other once in a while, but it was very rare, and I enjoyed when it happened. So Claire became part of the household. I had to go to work on a work trip probably 2 or 3 days after that, but I left the closet door open, you know, because I didn't want to isolate them for in a closet. Blah blah blah. So I went on my work trip. I'm doing very good, by the way, in not crying. You're welcome. Because by this point I've already been crying 2 or 3 times in other film attempt. But went to work, came back home, and they hadn't killed each other, which is great. And there wasn't poop everywhere. So she fit in really, really nicely. So I'll try to fast forward through what was Claire like. Now, you guys, I didn't really show a lot of my cats back before Claire passed. For some reason, I didn't really show you that many videos of my cats. But Claire was a lovely cat. She was a sweet, beautiful, little, gentle, soul. If you stay around and look at the photos and the little video montage I've put together for the last half of this video, the first photos you'll see of her, you'll notice her hair, her fur for the most part is almost ivory. She's for the most part white with dark ears. But then as you watch and you look at the photos, you'll see at the end of her life, she was definitely fat and happy. She was almost chestnut colored with dark brown and ivory and cream. She was gorgeous. When her eyes opened, did I tell you about this? I used Eleanor's eye drops. Eleanor had an eye infection. I got 2 bottles of antibiotic eye drops for her from the vet. The second one I used almost completely on Claire, and they worked beautifully because a couple of days later her eyes opened and they were the most dazzling gemstones. They were multifaceted, just kaleidoscopes of blue and just gorgeous. If you watch the photo little montage, you'll see really shortly after her eyes open, she's looking at me outside of a window and her eyes are these dazzling gems. They're gorgeous. Little windows into her beautiful little soul. Claire loved to sleep right next to me. She liked to sleep on these little beanbag bed that I made for her up right over my right hand shoulder. So she would love to sleep in that little bed there. She would jump up on my bed and she had this little fast but gentle cadence when she walked. She walked in a very particular way, much different than my other cats. And she would make her way to her bed, get in there, and she'd yawn and she'd stretch. And she would really only sleep when I would turn over. I would put one hand under my head, as I usually do, and then my other hand would go onto Claire's belly or onto her bed, and she would touch my hand. And we would sleep. That was how I went to sleep every night. I got rid of her bed probably 2 weeks ago. It was time. Oh, honey, buddy, can you hear him crying? I'll be with you in a moment. I know. But I kept her bed because I couldn't let it go. Until I got rid of it, I could not sleep at home if I didn't turn over and put my hand on her bed. And every night I would say, "Good night, Claire." When I'm on a layover for work, every single night when I turn over, you can picture this, every single night, I get in bed, I turn over on my right-hand side, I put my hand on the bed, and I say, "Good night, Claire." I don't know if I could get to sleep otherwise. But she was just the most gentle, loving cat. And it was beautiful. Something that Claire taught me, she taught me a couple of things. Claire was delicate. She was very delicate. Where you've seen Eleanor eating her treat, she's like gobble, 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 gobble. Claire would lick a little bit, and then she'd hear something, and then she'd look, and then she'd take a lick, and then she'd look over there. And it took Claire like 10 minutes to eat treats where Eleanor would like inhale it, you know. And Claire, it turns out later on I understand why she was so chill. She's a very relaxed cat. She was not very active. And there's a reason, I'll tell you about that. She didn't really move a lot. She wasn't very active. And I wanted her to play more. I wanted her to interact with the other cats more. I wanted her certainly to eat faster when when I fed her treats. Claire, as lovely and beautiful and sweet as she was my heart. She was my heart. She just wasn't the cat I was expecting her to be. So one of the first lessons that Claire taught me, and it's an important lesson I had to learn, that I learned it from a cat, I think is weird. But I had to learn how to love Claire for the cat she was and not for the cat I wanted her to be. I had to learn how to adore this beautiful creature for exactly who she was and not for who I wanted. You know what I mean? And that's a big life lesson, to love and appreciate people around me for who they are and not who I want them to be. I mean, really. If I had known that lesson, well, I wouldn't have married my ex-husband, but maybe I would have been married longer. I don't know. But it was an enormous lesson for me. And the other lesson was to accept someone on their own timeline. Now, I learned this to a degree in walking my ex-roommate's dog years ago. But the dog would like pull the leash, and I would pull the dog this way. No, we're going this way. And our what was that dog's name? Rex. Rex, a little nightmarish Bichon Frise. Rex would pull because he wants to go that way, and I'm pulling this way. No, we're going this way. I learned a little bit to that degree, but Claire really pushed the lesson towards me, is to accept someone else's timeline. Like, to not force people, again, to be the people I want them to be, or to force them to do what I want them to do. Just go along with their timeline. Not everyone's on my timeline. I'm not even on my timeline sometimes. So Claire really taught me to accept her, and then when I could, I got all the gifts, all the beauty that she was, you know, without anything negative. She was just a brilliant miracle cat. She really was. So I know that sounds very dramatic for a cat, but that was Claire. Claire was silent. Claire was silent. You know Buddy is a talker, right? Buddy talks as much as I do. Wow, 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 wow. He's always whining and talking. Eleanor didn't cry. She didn't meow. Nothing. Eleanor and Claire were both silent cats. Now, if you didn't know this, a fun fact about cats. Cats don't meow in nature. They don't make a lot of noise in nature. It's only with people that they meow. Buddy certainly was socialized and knew how to meow right away. Boy, oh boy. Eleanor is learning to meow, mostly from watching Buddy and seeing what happens when he makes noise. So Eleanor has gone from being silent into trying to cry, but meow. But when Eleanor meows, she makes a sound that's like, I can't even do it. But it sounds like Gremlins, or like an old lady trying to clear her throat who has emphysema. I mean, that's the noise that Eleanor makes when she wants to like meow or get attention or something. Claire never made a noise. I mean, I don't know if I ever remember her making. She must have made some kind of noise, but for the most part, she was silent. Upon moving from the apartment, which was her safe place, right, to my condo when I eventually bought it, that changed. All three of my cats. If you remember, if you went with me through that process of buying my house, I filmed a moment or two of us in the car. The cats, all three, were screaming as if they had blowtorches to their faces. I mean, it was nightmarish. I barely got here. I was crying so hard while I was driving. It was torture. And I talk at length about the noises my cats made because Claire was quiet. She didn't really move a lot. I didn't understand why she did not have the energy that my other cats had. Claire, like every picture you see of Claire, except for a couple videos where she's playing with a feather, she's very sedimentary. She would watch the other cats do things, but she would rarely ever participate. And it turns out later on to be as a part of one of the symptoms of the disease that I believe she had. So let's fast forward. We're in the house, in the condo. It's November 5th of last year, about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I was giving the cats their evening treats. I found Buddy and Eleanor. I could not find Claire. and try and keep this tight. I went in the room, my bedroom, where she usually would lay down, and she was on the other side of the bed on a low table that I had next to the bed so they could jump up easily. She was lying down on her side, her chest heaving, like her whole, not wasn't heaving, her whole body was struggling. Now, I have asthma. I've had many asthma attacks over the years. And if you have asthma, you know when you can't breathe, but all you can do is struggle. And you just have no control over your body. And it's so scary. She was struggling trying to breathe and she couldn't. She was dying. She was drowning in her own lungs. So, long story, I believe she had FIP, which is from the FEV virus or something. I don't know. But it turns out that this disease she had filled up her entire chest, from what I understand, and her torso with this very thick, viscous, gel-like fluid, which compresses her organs and really stopped her from being able to breathe very easily. Now, for the first few years I had her, it was a very slow process up to the point. And she would have these respiratory issues that would pop up and then go away, that were just very, very spontaneous. And then they would just disappear. Well, this night, she was convulsing practically in the bedroom. So I jumped onto my phone and looked for, I am amazed that I'm not like crying right now. I looked for a 24-hour vet and found one at the other end of town, all the way on the other end of town. I picked up Claire. I put her in a cat carrier. And the whole reason I was telling you about how the sounds that she doesn't make, how quiet she was, until I moved here, I put her in that carrier and got in the car. She screamed in the car. Well, that evening last year, she was silent. She was trying so hard to breathe. She couldn't scream. She couldn't cry. She couldn't get upset. She was just, you know, she was silent in the car, and that was terrifying. Got to the vet. There was no one there. There was no one in the waiting room, so they could see me right away. I talked to the vet pretty much immediately. They took Claire away from me. They put her on oxygen so she wasn't struggling. And then did a few tests, and the doctor came back to me and said that for the most part, this is what she understood to be the problem, and that there was no coming back from this. There's no treatment. I think there's something in the works right now, but there was nothing to be done, and that it wouldn't be a mistake to let her go. And I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to be said. I just knew it. I knew it. Walking into the room, I knew that was going to be the thing that would happen. And so she took Claire back in the room, and I got the chance to hold her. And holding her, she was wrapped up in something. I don't know what she knew. I don't know what she thought, but her eyes were wide open and her pupils were dilated like dinner plates. And she was still as a rock. She was so still. And I was trying really hard not to cry, like sob, because all I wanted to do was sob. Because I didn't want to scare her or alarm her in her last moments, you know. So I just kind of held her and kind of rocked a little bit and told her I loved her, and it was as good as it could have been. It got much worse after that. And then the doctor had instructed me to push this button that's on the wall when I was ready, as if I could ever be ready. But eventually, rather than, I just hoped that the oxygen that they had given her wouldn't have worn away so quickly as she would start to struggle again, and that would have killed me. So I pushed the button, and pushing that button was like the hardest thing I think I've done. One of the hardest things I've done as an adult was push that button to say, hey, come and kill my cat, you know? That was very nice, very empathetic. And so she took the things she needed in a little towel or a tray or something. Claire had an IV on her arm, so they gave her a shot. Oh, hold on one sec. I'm gonna. Okay. She gave her a little shot that would put her to sleep, that would make her unconscious, deeply unconscious. And it was almost immediate, the shift in her weight. Um, and then she asked if I was okay, and then she gave Claire the second shot, which I think was just to stop her heart. I think that's how it happened. But again, it was immediate. It was immediate. And it was as humane as you could have done it. I would love to go that way. Um, but it was as humane as possible. And she didn't suffer. Um, and that was a comfort. Oh, hold on. Okay. So I went home that night with her carrier, and I was told I would come back in like 3 or 4 days to pick up her ashes. I did. That was like the second worst thing ever, was picking up her ashes. When I walked in there the first time with Claire, the waiting room was empty because it was late at night. This time it was full day. The entire waiting room was full of people, and I'm already crying walking in the room. Like, I'm already sobbing walking into the office. And then I see everybody with their pets, and I'm trying really hard not to like fall apart and cry, because I don't want anybody who's there maybe for a similar reason to get triggered. But I told the woman I was waiting for Claire's ashes. She sat me down and said, "Oh, we'll let you know when she's ready." And a few minutes later, the woman like waved me over. She goes, "Here you go, you're all set." And there's Claire in a paper bag on the counter, and this woman gesturing as if I was picking up a DoorDash order, or I was picking up a pizza at Little Caesars, a hot and ready. And I was so upset by this complete lack of empathy and compassion. And I walked out, and I just turned the corner, leaned against the wall, and slid down onto my haunches and howled. Howled. I was in agony. I cried so hard that all the blood vessels, all the capillaries around my eyes broke. I had like black eyes from crying so hard. I don't know how I got home. I don't know how I got home. But Eleanor and Buddy didn't really seem to notice anything. But a couple of days later, Buddy started sleeping in Claire's bed. So maybe he missed her and she just wasn't there. And I don't think they think a lot, Buddy and Eleanor. But I think Buddy understood there was a vacancy in the house, and he found comfort there. He really did like Claire a lot. Yeah. So that's how I met Claire, how she impacted my life and still does, and how I had to let her go. Shortly after I let her go, one of my subscribers, a reviewer, I haven't seen her in the comment section for a long time. I'm not sure if she still watches. But Elle bought a fake stone. It looks like a piece of rough rock, and on it was Claire's name, her date, and the saying that if love could have saved you, you would have lived forever. And absolutely true. Absolutely true. One more thing, shortly before I let you go, one more thing that Claire taught me was to put my damn phone down sometimes. I'll be in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, and I'm on my phone, tap, tap, tap. And that is Eleanor's favorite place to be. Love me. She just gets on the floor, rolls around. She just wants all the love and all the affection. I don't know why it's the bathroom. It's the bathroom, on my bed, and downstairs on the coffee table. She wants all the attention. Then there are times that she doesn't want me to touch her, but in those places, she just loves to interact. And here I am sitting on the toilet with that, right? So one thing that Claire taught me in losing her is to value every minute with these creatures, these beautiful, beautiful souls that share my home, to put the phone down and love my cats, love my loved ones, and just not be on my phone all the time. I'll be in bed lying there with my phone, tap tap tap, and Buddy's meow meow meow, and he's walking around. He's bored. He wants to play, and Buddy doesn't love to play. He's not a playful cat. And like, how dare I be on my phone when there's that one of those rare moments where Buddy wants to play and I'm like, tap tap tap. No, put the damn phone down. And so that's something else that Claire really has taught me in losing her, is to value every minute I have with my cats. So there you go. I got through most of this without crying too hard. I'm very happy with myself right now. Yeah, next I'm going to attach, like I said, a montage of still photos and video clips. There was one of my favorite video clips that I really do hope you get to watch if you haven't already seen it, is a video where it's probably 4 or 5 days, not long, after maybe a week, because I had to go to work. Claire was, I'm in bed. Claire is sitting on the end table, looking away from me, and she's like whipping me in the face with her tail, which was very hard, very bony. But that video clip is my favorite moment with Claire, and it's one that I haven't been able to watch until today. I was able to watch it. I probably shouldn't have, because that's probably one of the reasons I couldn't get through a couple of my attempts to film this video. But that's one of my favorite video clips. There's a couple others, but that's like my favorite. So I hope you enjoy these videos and little photos. And if you're not into cats, well, you're wrong. Because I'll tell you, dogs are wonderful, and they're loving and they're loyal, and that's wonderful. Cats really forced me to be a better person. When's a dog? Well, I can see how dogs would make you do that, but cats really do make you really have to look at every experience. I mean, they're amazing animals, but blah, 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 blah. Go watch these videos. I'll stop talking, and I'll say thank you, thank you, thank you for being a witness to my story and Claire's. I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Fly safe. Claire. Hi, Claire. Hi, Claire. Look at me. Look at me. Look at those pretty eyes. Yeah. Look at those pretty eyes. Hi, guys. I'm looking in the window from outside at Claire. She's wondering why I'm outside and why Buddy is outside. Hi, Claire. I know you know. I know you know you're doing that. This is her favorite place. This is her favorite place to sleep. Hi, Claire. And she knows she's doing this. She's looking at me like, yeah. Hi, Claire. Keep it going. I love this cat. Say goodnight, Claire. She says goodnight. That weird little twitching tail. Stop. I love you, kiddo. I love you too. Good night, guys. Hi, baby. Hi, sweetheart. Are you happy? Hi, honey. Are we done? We've reached our limit of belly scratching. Okay. Are we done? Oh, okay, we're done. Oh, what was that noise? What was that noise? Is it Eleanor playing with a plastic bag? Yes. Hey, 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 you. Hey, you. Claire. I love it, little no. Oh, hi. Hello, baby. Hi, baby. I wish you could see how blue her eyes are when her pupils are dilated. Her eyes are like silky blue. And I know it's from a fight, but I still love this little teeny notch on her ear. It's just this little charm. You need a flaw, sweetheart. You're too perfect. All right, are we done? Are we done with me? Okay. Leave me. Hi, honey. Hi, Claire. Taking a nap? Trying to? Oh. Okay, you go to bed. Oh. Oh, I'm so happy. Well, you get a bite? You get a mouthful? Killing me. Look at Buddy's face. Oh. Yeah. Hi, Claire. Oh, you make me happy. What are you doing in that plant? There's nowhere for you to go up there. You can't climb up there. Buddy, why are you crying? Wow. Wow, wow. And Eleanor, you're being good. You're being great. I don't know what you plan on doing. Claire, get down. Thank you. Oops. Hi. Hmm? Hi, Claire Bear. Look at her reflection. Hi, Claire Bear. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big yawn. Yeah. When Claire wants to be scratched, she kind of leans into it. And she is in the moment. And then she decides it's over. She walks away. But she's a good cat. Ooh, there we go. Moment's over. All right? Hi, baby. Yeah. You like your nose rubbed? Huh? Yeah. You love your nose rubbed, huh? I love you, baby. I love you, baby. You're so pretty. You're so pretty. You're my baby, huh? Are you my baby? Yeah. Hey, Claire Bear. Hi, beautiful. Hi, beautiful girl. Whoop. Goodbye. She seemed very peaceful and happy. What about you? What about you, Mr. Buddy? Hey, you. Hey, you. You want the feather, don't you? Oh.
All right, here's Claire Bear. Now, if you look right behind her head, over her shoulder, see how her sides are kind of working a little hard, even though she's just sitting here relaxing, you know? This is her chill. Um, it's not really obvious, but she's trying to breathe a little bit. Sometimes her breathing is really labored. That's the word I want to use. Sometimes she's obviously trying to breathe. It looks like me having an asthma attack, you know. Right now she's just sitting here peacefully, but she's been very listless. And I've said jokingly she was in a malaise, but the past few weeks she's just been very, very sedimentary. You know, she's eating, especially her treats, and she drinks a lot of water and she poops, but she's just not the same cat she was 5 or 6 months ago. I don't know what's going on.